The French government has collapsed as President Macron's gamble fails. France's Prime Minister Bayrou has been ousted after he lost a confidence vote in Parliament. Now, Bayrou has been in office for only 9 months, casting doubt over President Emmanuel Macron's future. The 74-year-old is the third Macron-appointed Prime Minister to be forced out of office in the past 2 years. 364 lawmakers voted against Bayrou while only 194 backed him. Now, Bayrou had himself called the confidence vote unexpectedly to try to win parliamentary support. The crisis began with Bayrou's attempt to push through a controversial savings plan worth 44 billion euros, which is around 51 billion USD. His proposal included cutting 2 public holidays and freezing government spending. And now he has paid the price for what appears to be a staggering political miscalculation, gambling that lawmakers would back his view that France must slash public spending to rein its debt. Now, instead, they seized on the vote that Bayrou called to gang up against the centrist who was appointed by Macron last December. Now, mind you, at the end of the first quarter of 2025, France's public debt stood at 3.346 trillion euros or 114% of GDP. Now, French President Macron took a gamble in June 2024 after facing a huge defeat for his party in the European parliamentary vote, after which he called a snap parliamentary election in June, which he hoped would achieve a clear majority in serenity and harmony. But the gamble backfired, producing a splintered legislature with no dominant political bloc in power for the first time in France's modern republic. Instead, it resulted in a divided parliament that has made it difficult for any prime minister to garner the necessary support to pass bills and the yearly budget. Macron then appointed Michel Barnier last September, but within 3 months, the man who negotiated Brexit for the EU was out, making him the shortest serving French prime minister ever. Bayrou now has suffered the same fate.
Parce que, mesdames et messieurs les députés, vous avez le pouvoir de renverser le gouvernement. Mais vous n'avez pas le pouvoir d'effacer le réel. Le réel demeurera inexorable. Les dépenses continueront d'augmenter plus encore. Et le poids de la dette déjà insupportable sera de plus en plus lourd et de plus en plus cher.
Now, France, like many developed nations, is facing the demographic headache of an aging population, which means fewer workers being taxed and more people drawing the state pension. Reportedly, the French government has for decades spent more money than it has generated. As a result, it has to borrow to cover its budget. Its debt now stands as the third highest public debt in the Eurozone, after Greece and Italy, and equivalent to almost 50,000 euros per French citizen. Politicians on the left have called for tax rises rather than budget cuts. The next government's immediate task will be to push through a budget in an increasingly fractured parliament, the same challenge that ultimately sank Bayrou. Now, President Macron, who is facing calls from the opposition to dissolve parliament and resign, will instead hunt for his 5th prime minister. His office said he would appoint one in the next few days. He could now nominate a politician from his own centrist minority ruling group or from the ranks of conservative as the next premier. But that would mean doubling down on a strategy that has failed to yield a stable alliance. He could also lean to the left and nominate a moderate socialist. Now, the Socialist Party says it wants a total break from Macron's pro-business policies as well as a repeal of the pension reform. Either option, however, will operate in the same precarious environment. The next government's immediate task will be to push through a budget in an increasingly fractured parliament, the same challenge that ultimately has sank Bayrou. Notably, under the French political system, the Prime Minister is appointed by the President, accountable to the Parliament, and is in charge of implementing domestic policy, notable economic measures. Reports suggest that if Macron decides to stick with the centre and right, his first choice would probably be Sébastien Lecornu, the current defence minister, who is a member of Macron's Renaissance party and is said to be close to him. Another conservative whose name has been mentioned is the current Minister of Labour and Health, Catherine Vautrin. 2 other possibilities from inside government are Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau, who now leads the Republicans, and Justice Minister Gérald Darmanin. There are 2 other possibilities from the left as well.